So the question is, how do I define toxic masculinity? I think the best way I can define that is coming from a place of experience, looking at my childhood, my role models, the people I looked up to, my surroundings, my environment, and what I pictured manhood as being when prior to actually coming into manhood. And it wasn't something that I was taught necessarily, but it was definitely something that I learned. I took it upon myself to think of being a man as let's say like a Popeye, a tough guy. You're although Popeye was after just the one woman, I think through probably social media, different movies, friends. I mean, there's a lot that goes into what builds the idea of what masculinity is supposed to be. And I think it comes down to what we decide to choose and what not to choose in terms of what we believe a man is supposed to be. And it all comes down to each person individually. Let me talk about myself. I looked at being a man as a tough guy. The sports I was involved in were considered masculine. Let's say I liked football. I was a wrestler. I probably had too much testosterone coursing through my veins. I did a lot of heavy lifting. The people around me, although they did not want me to follow in their footsteps, they wanted me to do better for myself. I couldn't understand why at the time. Now, being nearly 32 years old, I see that they were wise. They were much more wise than I wanted to give them credit for at the time, in a sense that they saw how strenuous and how rough their line of work was through the years, what it did to them, how it affected their relationships, their moods, attitudes, and the way they handled problems. My father, he is a retired carpenter from the union. My oldest brother, who is 14 years my elder, also owns a construction company, basically does the same kind of work. Hard, really masculine, hard work. That's not to say that either one of them is toxic, but the situation that arises from being in those situations, you find a lot more. Maybe I'm wrong because I haven't been involved too much in other things, although now I like to use this rather than these guys. I feel that there's a lot more opportunity for toxicity to prevail. There's a lot more. You got a lot more men that do those type of things. Man naturally wants to compete against other men and be better, creating this almost a prideful want to excel above your fellow man and to do better things. You see somebody lift something, hey, I can lift that too. You see somebody get something done, I can do that quicker. Those types of things. And when you're in that sort of work environment, more often than not, it's something that is physically demanding. And I guess truthfully, there's going to be a lot of definitions to this toxic masculinity, because I'm speaking just from my one bit of experience. There's others who are were striving for other in other means, say in the business sector, or whatever else you want to go. We can go all athletics all the way. We can go construction all the way. We can go working in a factory all the way. It's just, I guess you're going to have a lot of definitions for this. So let me get back to the definition of what I think toxic masculinity is. A lot of it has to do with pride and wanting to outdo your fellow man rather than outdo yourself, which is what I think we should all strive to do. Now, the next question: how the pressure of being a man causes toxic masculinity. Well, being a man, you're going to be naturally masculine, hopefully. That doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have feelings and emotions, and that's something else. I was not taught this, but it is something that I learned, and I don't know how it worked that way, but I withheld a lot of emotion. I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to cry in front of people. I didn't want to deal with the things that I deemed wrong or negative that came my way in a positive manner. It was always, hey, let's drown our miseries and some beer, some shots. Let's go to the bar. Let's go find some women. And it's not the way you want to do it, that's for sure. Now being a little older, I realize that there's a lot more productive ways. Look inward. It would be my suggestion. I found meditation to be one way of dealing with these problems, calming yourself down to basically no thought at all, just calming your mind, calming your spirit, and you get a lot better answers than when you intoxify, is that a word? The body, and confuse the mind. That's all that does. Let's smoke a joint and get loopy and high and happy, but in reality that doesn't work either. I mean, for some people it might. I'm one person, so I'm speaking just from my own experience. I don't agree with it. Not anymore. That's not to say I'll never have a drink again, or that's not to say I might even hit a joint. Who knows? But I don't know if I should say that, but it is the truth. It's the truth. I'm weak and I'm susceptible. I'm slowly beginning to get stronger, and in so doing, find more confidence in the meditation, prayer. I love praying. God is so cool. He never stops answering prayers. I give him all the credit to the changes that I've come into, coming out of this toxic masculine form that I had been in for almost 32. It probably started at 14. So I was a man at 14 years old, a toxic man at 14 years old. The pressures of that the world puts on us. It's funny because I wasn't told when I was a kid, hey, grow up, buy your wife a house, get married, have kids, provide for them, this and that. This is something you look around and you see everybody else is doing. You're like, man, how do they do this? I got to figure this out. And you do the best that you can, and you do the best that you can with what you have and what you know. And some people know things differently, and some people have things differently. So it's all a matter of where you come from and how you answer the questions of, am I going to take this route or am I going to take this route? Am I going to go to the party or am I going to study my books? Am I going to smoke this joint or am I going to tell them no and I don't want to do that stuff? And separate yourself from the problems. I know that separating yourself from the problem is tough because you want to fit in and you want people to accept you, but it's so much more beneficial for you, short-term and long-term, to say no thank you. I'm going to do this instead. Even if you are by yourself, you know what, that loneliness does go away, and you realize, like, man, I am so much better than I would have ever guessed. And I don't have to be around a bunch of people telling me how awesome I am because I can chug a beer. I can go home and read a book. And when I wake up or when I go to sleep, I feel better about myself. I don't have a hangover. I don't have any regrets. I haven't done anything that I feel like I shouldn't have done. And I think a lot of that, the toxic masculinity comes from doing something wrong and thinking you can do it again, but do it better or make it to where you don't have those kind of regrets. But the repetition of something that you know is wrong is insanity. And boy, if I wasn't insane for a long time, I'd be surprised. I don't think I'm insane anymore, but I'm finding out what works and what doesn't work. It's trial and error. What are the most crucial elements to healthy masculinity, and how do we promote them? I guess I kind of started answering that just now. It's finding out who you are by yourself, separating yourself from all other people, and realizing that you don't need a whole bunch of people to be telling you that you're awesome, and you just find out you're awesome by yourself, and that's the way to do it. But what do you love? I found, and truth of the matter is, I gave my life to God. I pray to Him often. When you seek, you will find. When you knock, He will answer. These are so true. And I found that He's teaching me how to love myself for me being me, for the way He created me to be. I didn't come into this world with anything but me. And I realize now that I have to find out who me is without everybody else around me telling me, hey, this is who you are, this is who you are. No, that's what I've done, but that's not who I am, and that's not going to continue to define me. There's more to who I am as a man than any of that stuff has ever said. And I think finding your purpose in this world, pursuing love has always been on my mind, and do all things in love. Love your neighbor as yourself, and love God with all your heart, mind, soul. You really have to find the definition of what love is, and you have to find out how to love yourself. And to do that, get by yourself. I don't know. Hopefully that answered the questions. If not, then maybe I'll have to remake this video. But I don't know. Yeah. So that's what I got for you. Hopefully you like it. God bless.